My name's Andrea Bartling, and I'm here with my grandma, Carol, and today is April 27th, 2021. And we just wanted to sit down with her and ask her a little bit about her life. So here we are. So, Grandma, if you want to start out, just tell us your name and your birth date and where you were born and your age.
Well, I was born at home with a midwife present. I don't remember her name, but it is on my birth certificate.
Okay.
Born December 23rd, 1931. Named me Carol Lou Myers.
And you were born at the house
At
that's
home.
next to your current house, right? In that house that you grew up in? Is that where you were born?
Yes,
In Thomasville?
yes.
Okay. And I have written down there was something interesting about the history of that house with your parents bought it. Did your parents buy that house for cheap or?
It was built by Kearney Bryant for a total of $198.
Wow.
It included all the materials and labor. It was 4 rooms to start with.
And that's where you were born?
Yes,
And all your siblings too?
yes.
So tell us a little bit about your siblings. How many siblings did you have and what were their
I
names?
have a brother, Clifton, and 2 sisters, Mildred and Lorene. They're all deceased now.
Yeah. And were you the
I was the youngest.
youngest? And then what about your parents? What were their names?
My father's name was John. My mother's name, Fanny. Fanny Lee Clodfelter
And then married name Myers?
Myers.
Yeah. And what were their job? What were their occupations?
My dad was a carpenter. My mother was just a home person,
Yeah.
homemaker,
So she just took care of raising kids and cooking and
cooking.
everything.
and gardening
Okay.
and sewing.
And then do you have any memories of your parents or that you want to talk about or any what they were like?
My dad loved fishing,
He did.
so he fished in High Rock Lake,
Yeah.
and then later he went to the coast several times and fished. My mother was more or less a homebody.
Yeah.
She didn't like to go places. So she mainly stayed home.
Yeah. With you guys. You and your siblings.
Oh, my siblings, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just to talk a little bit about your childhood, I know you had told us that you had gotten in trouble for doing something with the chicken coop or going out to the chicken coop or something
Well,
like that.
there was a setting hen, and a setting hen was one who had like 6 to a dozen eggs under her, and she sat until they hatched little biddies. And the only spanking I ever got, I remember that I broke some of the eggs under that hen that was setting,
On purpose or?
I guess. So,
And your parents weren't too happy about that.
and they spanked me.
Yeah.
That was the only spanking I remember.
Well, it stood out to you then because it was
Yes.
the only one. And then what kind of games did you play or what did you do for fun when you were a kid?
Well, hopscotch. I would drew the hopscotch in the yard,
Yeah.
and I would go out into the woods with string and stop and make me a playhouse.
With string.
Yes, I would have a bedroom and a kitchen
Yeah.
made up of strings and stobs,
What are stobs?
little posts.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, to tie the string to make
Yeah.
the rooms.
Did your Did your sisters play that with you?
No,
Oh,
no,
just you.
no.
Okay.
I don't remember my sisters playing with me, really.
Yeah. How much younger than you are your sisters?
5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you and your one of your sisters used to fight over one of the delicacies or something
Yes.
like that.
Mildred and I fought over the squirrels' brains
Oh.
when we would cook squirrels. And of course they were they were minute anyhow. There was very many of them
Yeah.
in a squirrel.
Right. There was
So-
only enough for one person.
Right, just one bite probably.
Yeah. And then what was school like when you were a kid? What was your school like?
I loved school. It was very nice.
Where'd you go?
Went to Fairgrove.
And did you walk to school or?
No, rode the school bus.
And how big was your school? Was it pretty small or?
It had 12 grades. The lower grades it was a 2-story building, and the lower grades were on the ground floor, and the upper grades were on the upstairs. And we had an auditorium, and we also had a balcony up on the second floor.
That sounds pretty big.
Yes,
Or decent sized.
yeah.
And then when you were a kid, World War II was going on for part of that.
Yes.
Do you remember anything
I do
about that?
remember standing out in the yard and watching the military trucks and soldiers go up the road by my house
Really?
in a convoy. Don't know where they were headed, but they
Yeah.
would go by my house.
And you watched them
Yes.
out in the yard.
Yeah.
Did the war affect your childhood? Like, do you remember having to do anything special or save anything special or anything like that?
We did have rationing. I don't remember very much about it, but there were certain things that were rationed,
So you were only allowed to use so much of certain things?
like sugar maybe, or something like that was rationed. Yeah.
That's interesting. And then after you graduated from Fairgrove, what did you do for school? Did you go to college?
I went to City Memorial Hospital in Winston-Salem, a 3-year nursing diploma.
And so you were a nurse for your
And
career.
it was comparable to a 4-year college because we went all year round and had, I think, 2 weeks vacation in the summer.
Oh, that's not very much.
Yeah, no.
So it was 3 years, but it was basically
Yeah.
4-year
Yes.
degree. And
And
then
was a diploma.
diploma.
And then I had to pass state boards. So,
And after you did that, you worked as a nurse. Did you work in a hospital or?
I worked in a hospital
Yeah.
at Rex Hospital in Raleigh, did private duty, and then we moved to Montana, and I worked in the emergency room and central supply department, which was a combination
In Montana.
in Montana. Yeah, Great Falls.
Okay, cool. And at that point, you were already married to Papa.
Yes,
So tell us a little bit about Papa. How did you guys, what was his name, first of all?
John Boyce Blackley.
John Boyce Blackley. And he was
And-
younger than you
2
a
years.
little bit. And how did you meet?
I met him when I was doing my psychiatric training in Raleigh at Dix Hill, and he was working there as a orderly.
So you met at a mental hospital,
Met him at
basically.
the insane asylum.
but not as patients.
No,
And so what was his career? What did he do? He was
he was a bricklayer,
a bricklayer.
brick mason.
And he did that his whole adult life, right?
Yeah.
So when were you married?
June 30,
June 30th. What year?
I'd have to think really hard.
We can add that later.
53, I think it was.
Yeah. And you were 21, I think, when you got married. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was 19.
Yeah. That seems so young. But I guess not for the time. And then after you guys married, you had 4 kids.
Yes. Vicky, Donna, Bonita, and Johnny.
Yeah. 3 girls and a boy. And you moved to Montana when they were little, right?
When Donna was 3 months old, mm-hmm. we moved to Montana.
Yeah.
And then Bonita and Johnny were born there.
Mm-hmm. And what do you remember about Montana? Anything, or the trip to Montana? Or from Montana?
I remember the cold weather.
Yeah. It is a lot colder up there.
And I remember working one night at the hospital, coming home after work, and I had a lady that worked with me. I was taking her home, and the roads were slick with ice, mm-hmm. and I had to use one of John's masonry cords that he had in the back floorboard. After the lady got out at her house, mm-hmm. then I had to tie the door handle with that rope and hold it to keep the door from flinging open because the lock froze and it wouldn't close.
Oh, geez.
After she got out.
Geez.
So
you had to tie that door shut for your drive home?
I had to hold it, yes, to keep it from coming open.
Wow.
And you had to start stopping halfway down the block so you'd be sure to stop and not slide into the intersection.
Yeah. Do you remember what kind of car you had back then?
57 Chevrolet.
Okay.
Gold and white.
Yeah. And then let's see here. I just have nursing career. Do you have any stories or memories that stick out from your career as a nurse? Anything interesting that happened?
Not really, no.
And then I know you had some stuff written down about your house. So after you moved back from Montana, is that when your house was built where you live now?
Yes.
Do you remember what year that was?
1965, we moved in.
And you said that before your house was built, what was there? What was on that land?
There was a barn and a pig pen, mm-hmm. close to where my house is.
And what about the house? And that's next to the house where you were born?
Yes.
And the lot right next to it. Okay, so by your house, or near there's a store?
Yes.
On Light Road or something?
My dad built that store and ran it.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So he ran that store?
Yes.
In addition to being a carpenter, or was that after?
After.
Okay.
After he retired.
Mm-hmm. And what was that store called?
Light Grocery.
Light Grocery.
And there's a story behind that name. The train went, by my house, mm-hmm. and there was a station between my house and the store, and it was called Light Station. Mm-hmm. And they delivered the mail there. And my mom would get the mail and walk it down Highway 109 to Ray Watford's feed store. And that's where the mail was delivered, I guess.
People would go there to get their mail?
Yeah, I have no idea what happened after that.
Yeah. And so that's why it was Light.
That's why it was named Light Grocery. Mm-hmm. And the road by there is also named Light Road.
Yeah. So. And then there was something there, too, between your house and that store that...
There was a little building. I don't know. I guess maybe it's where the stable was, where they could leave their horse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know any more about that either.
So somebody could just come and leave their horse there as like a little horse hotel?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was something about something happened at that train stop. Was there some type of explosion or something like that happened there?
Yeah.
Or where was that at?
That was across from my house. Mm-hmm. And a boiler blew up and killed a man.
That's kind of scary.
Okay.
And somebody else survived.
You want to read that? Look at that.
Sure. She's got notes right here. It says, a boiler for a sawmill across the railroad from my house, these are Carol's notes, blew up. Killed one man. Another man walked 1.5 miles home holding his brains in. And a steel plate was placed in his head, and he lived a normal life after that until old age. And then these are some chores that you did.
You want me to go ahead and tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I fed the chickens and gathered the eggs, and I drew water for the kitchen and water for the cow.
From a well?
From the well. I had to water the cow, and I had to move her from one place to graze to another place to graze. And she was on a chain, and I would lead her by the chain to wherever to graze. And I picked horseflies off of the cow. Went barefoot all summer, stepped on nails, cut with broken glass, and stepped in chicken manure, and stubbed my toes.
I bet.
So, and I had a pet chicken named Henny Penny. So.
And then here's a list too. It said childhood things that you did. Do you want to read these too? Because these are cute too.
They're probably,
if you want to.
They're probably about the same as these.
Well, that's okay.
Oh, I played in the meadow, and I caught butterflies and mounted them on cotton with straight pins. And I called up doodlebugs, which were worms, and caught June bugs and tied a string to one of their legs and let them fly around. And
on a little leash.
Yeah, and I think I already mentioned drawing water out of the well and carrying a bucket of water to water the cow, and I moved the cow from one place to another to feed, and I had a pet chicken that sat on my shoulder.
Henny Penny.
Yeah. Made playhouses with strings, and I had a swing in the big oak tree at the back of my house, and I would sit in that swing and yodel and sing. So, and my mother dipped snuff, so I would go out in the woods and pick a little twig that she used to make a little brush to dip with. So, when it was raining, I would sit out on the porch and look through an old catalog and cut out pictures of furniture for a make-believe house and also clothes. And I played under the house and made roads in the dirt and used a little flat-sided bottle for cars. We had a hog pen across the road, and I would go over there and climb a tree and wait for Daddy to come home from work. Sometimes, barefooted in the evening, we would sit on we did go barefoot, and your feet got dirty, And before we go to bed, we would get a wash pan and fill it with water and sit on the steps and wash our feet. And in the summer, I would walk with Mama down to what we call the old house place, where we had a garden. And we would often take our lunch, which would be a biscuit and ham. And there was a creek there where I could play in. Mama made my dresses out of feed sacks, and we still have the Singer sewing machine that she used. And I played in our barn loft, and I remember falling on my back from climbing the ladder to the loft, and it knocked the breath out of me.
Ouch.
Daddy took us to town most every Saturday, and I went to the show, the movie, the Palace Theater mostly, and there was the State Theater and Davidson Theater. I knew the Palace had separate entrances and sitting in the balcony for the black people. Joe's Soda Shop was a popular place, and it was right by the theater. And they had really good pimento cheese sandwiches, I remember. And in the fall of the year, corn shuckings were popular in my area. What they did was they would gather the corn and put it in a big row, and bales of hay for sitting, and you would shuck the corn, and you threw the corn over and the shucks behind. And then after all the corn was shucked, whosever farm we were shucking corn for, the ladies would have a meal. So there was lots of fun at wheat thrashings also. It was a community thing. And there was also lots of fun and food.
What were the wheat thrashing? Tell us about that. What'd you do? Do you remember?
I'm not sure what we did for the wheat thrashings. In the wintertime, I remember Daddy would clean and polish our shoes and place them by the fire so they would be warm for us before we went to school. Mm-hmm. This is something I sort of regret I did. I used a board propped up with a stick with a string tied to it, and I placed the breadcrumbs or chicken feed under the board, and when birds came to eat, I pulled the string, and the stick made the board fall down and kill the birds. I would eat them, roasted in the fireplace.
Like a mouse trap, but for birds?
Put them on a stick and roast them. And this is where Babe and I would fuss over who would eat the squirrel brains. Mm-hmm. Rabbits were trapped in a rabbit gum, and they were hung up on the corn crib and got the fur stripped off. And then we would cook them and eat them. And one thing I remember, Lorene and Clifton and Babe and I, we had playhouses on the banks of the railroad. Clifton and Mildred had their playhouse on one side of the railroad. Lorene and I had ours on the opposite. And we often walked the irons of the railroad. One of my favorite meals was when Mama got fresh veggies from the garden and made lunch, sort of a soup. And some of our Sunday morning meals we had chicken smothered in gravy, or we had fried fish. That was for breakfast.
Sounds good.
I would put half a biscuit in a saucer and pour coffee over it with sugar for breakfast. And John did that too and called it soaky roky. I called mine soak bread. That's it.
And that made me think of something else. Where did you go to church? Did you go to church when you were a kid? Or did your
I've
family
always, well, I grew up in Liberty Baptist Church, where I go now. But in the interim, sometimes I went with my neighbors to Mount Zion Church. But that was only a couple years, maybe.
What, is that a Baptist church?
No, United Methodist.
United Methodist.
And we walked there. My neighbors lived up the railroad from me.
Yeah.
So
Did you have any pets when you were a kid other than your chicken? Did you have
had
any dogs?
a dog named Jack. And I think he was Labrador, golden lab. I remember him being that color, and he would go with me and watch over me while I played down close to the pig pen, which Mama couldn't see me. But Jack would go with me and stay with me, guard me.
A good babysitter. He's a good babysitter.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you, just to talk kind of a little bit about the times, did you guys have, you had a well for your water? Did you have electricity in your house for lights, or what did you do?
Yes. My dad was very progressive. We were the first ones to have a telephone, and people would, from down below, I call Noah Town, they would come up to use our telephone. And what else?
So you guys didn't use lamps or anything? You had lights, like electricity in your house, or do you remember?
I don't remember us ever using lamps, but we did at one time. But like I said, Dad was progressive, and we were the first ones to have electricity and the telephone.
Cool. Did you have a fridge, or did you have to have, we talked about using an ice box, I think, or something like that.
I do remember that we had an ice box on the porch, and someone would deliver ice.
And that's how you kept your meat and stuff cold? Or
I don't even remember putting any meat. I thought it was just to use to ice our drinks with.
Oh.
But
Trying to think what else.
we used to have hogs, and we would kill when it got cold weather. They would kill the hogs, and we would process the meat, salt it down in the smokehouse, and we would have meat all winter, ham and fatback, whatever.
Yum. It's a good winter food.
My mouth's getting dry.
Those were all really cute stories. I like. Really interesting. It's just fun to think about what life was like back then.
Yeah. I think I've covered about everything.
Did you have a TV later when those became a thing?
We had one of the first TVs. Like I said, Dad was very progressive. He wanted all the modern stuff as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
He bought a car his first car was bought in 1919.
Oh, wow.
And it was a Ford. And he had nothing but Fords from then on.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And he bought me a car when I was in nursing school. So.
Do you remember what kind of car that was?
A Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So. And even though I did not smoke, some of my nursing classmates did, and he would give me cartons of cigarettes that I could take to nursing school for my smoker friends.
It's a lot different than now.
Yeah. One thing I remember is that Daddy rode a horse down the railroad to court my mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know how many miles it was, but anyhow,
Yeah.
he rode a horse to visit her.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's not quite how they do it these days.
And my dad went to school longer than my mother. I don't think he graduated, but he did have more schooling than my mom.
And did you know your grandparents?
I only remember my mother's mother, my grandmother.
What was her name? Do you remember? Or what'd you call her?
Lou Jean. Lou Jean Yance. And then she was Clodfelter. So.
And they had a German heritage?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm German on both sides. I used to think Clodfelter was Dutch, but I found out differently that it's German.
Oh.
My dad used to work at a chair company in Thomasville.
Do you know what he did there? Did he build? You said he was a carpenter, but did he?
I don't know exactly what they built, but about my house, it was built by Kern Bryant for $198. And at one time, there was a wraparound porch. And when Mama was canning, one time a fire broke out in the kitchen, and it was put out by a ladder onto the roof in buckets of well water.
Oh, wow.
And it happened in the mid-20s.
Do you remember that? Were you?
No, I wasn't born then.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. Uncle Bub was probably little boy or a baby. And that was the house where you grew up, the one next to your current house.
It was the same house.
Yeah.
They rebuilt it. Or built to it.
Did you go on any vacations when you were a kid, or?
No. But later, when I was a teenager, we did go to the beach.
So that's where you would go for vacation?
Yes.
And stay in a hotel or?
A house.
A house. And then since you've been retired, you've done lots of traveling?
Yes.
What all countries have you been to? Do you remember all of them?
Been to Hong Kong. Been to Germany. France, Paris.
Belgium?
Belgium. Maybe Austria. I think we drove over the line there.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all.
That's quite a few.
I've been to Mexico, been to Canada.
And lots of states.
And lots of states. Almost all the states.
You guys used to take a train across the U.S.
We rode the train from Greensboro to Seattle, Washington, and flew back.
Was that an Amtrak?
Amtrak, yes. So, and we rode the train to Montana and back.
I think
on our ride back, on one trip, there was a derailment somewhere, and we had to spend the night in Washington, D.C. So, yeah. One little incident back in my childhood, we would sell 2 dozen eggs down at Hepler's store and trade for a pair of shoes.
Oh, really? That's crazy. So those were eggs that
Our hens
your
laid.
hens laid,
Yeah.
and you could trade them for shoes.
Yeah.
What did shoes look like back then?
Oh,
Were they
just
leather?
little Oxfords, yes, leather shoes. Yeah. I remember in high school I had the saddle Oxfords, black and white.
Yeah.
They were popular at that time. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I went to school, I was a pretty good artist, so I was drafted to make pictures for the annual.
Oh.
So I have some drawings in my annual that I made.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have those with you?
No,
Oh.
I have them at home though.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll
My
get them.
annual.
Yeah, we'll get it from you later maybe and add those to it because that'd be cool to add.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. Were
Yeah.
just drawings with a pencil or like sketches?
Yeah. I was often drafted to make the bulletin boards in the classrooms. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, cool. I
always say Johnny got his artistic from me.
Yeah. Your son, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he does woodworking.
Yeah.
And, wood sculptures.
Yeah.
And he draws too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's very good. Mm-hmm. And Hope is too.
Mm-hmm. His daughter. Yeah.
Oh, do you remember me using a straight pin and putting it here and bending it my arm up?
Ah, yes.
That's in here.
I do. Tell what you would do. Just tell the story of what you would do.
Oh. For fun, and I would use a straight pin and put it in the crook of my elbow and then bend my elbow up to my shoulder, and it freaked out my grandchildren.
You would put it under your vein, wouldn't you, or something?
No, just laid it on the skin.
Oh.
Crosswise in the crook of my elbow.
Oh. Ooh. I remember that. Still creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember one time when I was a kid and I was at your house, I was probably 5 or 6 years old, but I had a loose tooth. And we tied a string around it and went in your bathroom and tied it to the doorknob, and then you said you were going to count to 10 and then slam the door. And you said, 1, 2, slam.
And your tooth came out.
It came right out. And I'm glad you went early because I had that anticipation building.
Yeah.
That was just something I remembered from your house. But
I played horseshoes a lot when I was growing up.
Yeah.
With the neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add?
I was a Girl Scout.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Did you have to sell cookies?
No.
Oh.
We didn't do fundraisers back then.
Mm-hmm. What did you do? What kind
we
of
went
things?
camping and just had fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember doing any good deeds or anything like that. We just met and had fun.
Yeah, kind of just a group for extracurricular. Yeah. Thanks for agreeing to come down here and talk to us for the interview.
My name is Vicki Lynn Blackley Mitchell. I was born on January the 24th, 1954. I'm the first child of John Blackley and Carol Myers Blackley. I was born in Thomasville Community Hospital, and my mother says that on the day that I was born, it was a Sunday, and that she and my dad walked up to Light Rosary, which was my grandfather's door, and there was snow on the ground, and she knew that she was in labor. And then when they walked back, she went to the hospital. And my sister Donna, let me start that over. 1 year later, on January the 31st, Donna was born. And in between me being born on the 24th of January and her being born on the 31st of January the next year, my parents moved to Raleigh. They had a little basement apartment that had an open kitchen, living room area, 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. And it was in the basement, but there were some windows back there. And she was, my grandmother Blackley kept me during the day while Mama worked at Rex Hospital. She was a nurse there at the hospital, fresh out of nursing school. Within 3 months of Donna being born, we got in the car with Papa Gray and Grandma Myers, and they drove with my mom and dad and me and baby 3-month-old Donna to Great Falls, Montana, where we were moving to so that Daddy could learn the bricklaying trade from Uncle Edgar. The main things that I remember about when we lived in Great Falls and about my mother is that she never had idle hands. She was busy all the time. If you can imagine having 3 children, because Benita was born maybe a year and a half, like Donna was born in January and Benita was born the next year in May. So Mama had 3 children in diapers at one time, and she didn't have Pampers. It was true diapers that she had to wash and clean in the toilet and then washing machine. And of course, the Montana weather at that time was probably a lot colder than it is now. So I can remember being a little girl, like maybe 3 years old, and looking out the back window of our little tiny trailer, and my mother was hanging up diapers on the clothesline. And later, when she would go back outside to bring them in, they were frozen. I guess they were somehow dry, but they were literally frozen. And the camp, it wasn't a camp, it was a trailer, but it was very small. And I remember that my mom spent a lot of time ironing clothes because back then in the 50s, everything had to be starched and pressed and nice. And she would just leave her ironing board up, and we used that as a table to eat on. And it was, like I said, it was very small, but in the back part of the trailer, there were 2 bunk beds. And we slept 2 to a bed. Donna slept on one end, and I slept on the other end and we were up on the top bunk, and then Benita was on the bottom bunk. And later, and I think Johnny, when he was born, he slept in a playpen. I remember every year at Christmas when we were little, just as 3 little girls, we got a tea set. And my mom would make us a Christmas breakfast, and she would always let us have milky coffee, which when she was a little girl, she called it soaky bread. And she would have her soaky bread when she would sit on her daddy's lap. And for us, soaky bread we'd have it in those little tiny tin teacups, and it would be a little bit of coffee, a lot of condensed milk, and lots of sugar. And then she would also make us scrambled eggs and bacon or whatever else, and we got to eat on our little tea set. And that's my big Christmas memory. The other thing that I remember is that Mama and Aunt Reen did a lot of their work together. They had an old-timey wringer washer, and they would do family laundry, I guess, once a week, winter, summer, spring, fall, all year long. And it was always outdoors on my Aunt Reen's porch. And it would take probably an entire afternoon for them to do that laundry. They didn't have a dryer. And I remember that one time, either Aunt Reen or Mama, one of them would turn the wringer part, and the other one would be feeding the clothes into the wringer. And one of them got their fingers caught one time. It was really painful. And I remember, which I don't remember who it was, but I remember the one that got her fingers caught cried because it was so painful. One of the sweetest things that I remember about my mother is we had a dog named Sparky, and she was our nanny, for lack of a better word. When Mama would go to work, Sparky would take us three little girls, and Sparky would be in, I would be in front, then Donna, then Benita, and then Sparky. And Sparky would shepherd us to our Aunt Reen's house, and she would stay with us that whole day. And then at the end of the day, when Mama got home from work, Sparky would take us back home. Sparky had some puppies one year, and there was a blizzard. It was very cold, and we had snow. And in my mind, it was a blizzard, but it probably was just regular snow. And Sparky got very agitated and was barking and scratching at the trailer door. And Mom went outside, and Sparky led her to the doghouse where the puppies were, and there was a missing puppy. And Sparky would run off a little ways and turn around and look at Mom as if, you better come help me. So it was so cold that Mom didn't want us to go, but there was no way that me and Donna and Benita were going to stay back in that trailer while Mama went out. So we all had to bundle up, and there was this long wheat field. And to me, it looked like it went probably a mile away to the railroad track, but it probably wasn't that far. I've asked Mom before how long that was, and she thinks it's about the length of 3 football fields to where the railroad track was. But anyway, Sparky took off and would wait for us to catch up. She took us right to this place on the railroad track where her puppy had gotten frozen onto the rail. So Mom had to leave us there while she went home and got some hot water so that she could get the puppy off unstuck from that frozen. There was no way that we could pull that puppy off. And of course, Sparky was just quite pitiful, and the puppy was crying. Us little girls were crying because we thought the train was going to come and kill the dog and kill us. But Mom went home, and she got some hot water and came back, and she got that little puppy off the rail. And then she put that puppy inside of her shirt or her coat. And when we all went back home, and we didn't let animals in our trailer, but she brought that puppy inside, and we got it all warmed up. And then we took it back and put it back in the box with the dog. So that's probably one of my sweetest memories of how kind and how capable Mom was. And I don't know if your mother or Grandma Carol told you this, but there was one time when a crowd of neighborhood kids, including our big cousins, Ricky and Ronnie, we all decided that we were going to climb Hill 57, which was a little mountain and had a monument on top. And it had in white stones, it said Hill 57. So we were going to take an afternoon and walk up to Hill 57. I probably was 6, which would have put Donna at 5 and Benita at 4. So Mom let us all go. And for some reason, Donna had a terrible temper when she was little. And she got mad and she decided she was going to go home, and she took off running, and she fell down on a cactus, and she fell straight on her bottom. And so then me and Benita had to go with her to go home. And it took our mother an hour, at least an hour, to pull. She had to use tweezers and pull out those little cacti bristles from her bottom. And I remember that took a lot of patience, and I couldn't have done it. And a lot of crying went on that day too. Let's see. We moved back to North Carolina when I was 9 because I was in the 3rd grade. And we lived with Grandma and Papa for several years. And all of my family slept in one room. And of course, Johnny was born then. So there were 2 double beds in that front bedroom and a baby crib for Johnny. And Donna and I shared a bed. And Benita had a pallet on the floor. And we lived there for 3 or 4 years because the house was being built in 1964. And I remember that Mom and Daddy did a lot of the work. And one of the things that I really, really remember is, I don't know if you've ever had to work with insulation, but it gets in your nose, stuff flakes off, and it's really irritating to your skin, and it just gets in your clothes. So Mama and Daddy put in all the insulation in the new house, and occasionally they would need a smaller body to get in some of the crevices. So they would have me go with them too. And it seems in my memory, it was the winter time, and it was always dark because Daddy would work all day. Mama would go to work at the hospital, like she might leave at 10 o'clock at night, and she worked the night shift. So it would be after supper, it would be dark, and it would be cold. And somehow between the 2 of them, they got that entire house insulated. And then the next thing that I remember is that Mom, the part of the house that's not paneled, Mama painted all those rooms. So, like I said, her hands were never idle. She was always, always busy. A couple of the really wonderful things that I remember her and her father, who you call Papa Gray, he was a really skilled carpenter. And one year for Christmas, we 3 girls got Barbie dolls. And I guess while we were at school, my mother made Barbie clothes. And she would sleep during the day, but then I guess she would get up before we got home from school, and she made probably 50 or 60 Barbie doll outfits. And we never knew she was doing it. And also, at the same time, she and Papa were making a wardrobe for our Barbie doll clothes. And that same Christmas, we also got like Barbie doll shoes, all the accessories, and a Barbie doll dressing table, and a bed, a canopied bed for our Barbie dolls that we played with endlessly. Then later, when I was in high school, Mama and Papa made a bookshelf for my room. And I still have that bookshelf. And it was just made out of plywood, but still, the fact that they made it together is real important to me. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could say. Oh, the last thing I want to mention is that my family always had what's called a summer garden. And we grew green beans, tomatoes, corn, cucumbers, and squash. And at the beginning of planting time, Mama and Daddy and us 4 kids would go out and we would plant the garden. And we didn't to my memory, we never would water our garden, but it always produced a lot. So in the mornings, in those hot July and August mornings, Daddy would go outside and he would pick the right produce. And then when Mom got up from work, us three girls and Mama would go out under the old persimmon tree, and we would snap and string the beans or silk the corn or do whatever we needed to do. And then that evening after supper, Mom would can green beans or green beans and corn or tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever. And we did not have any air conditioning. And the evening sun would shine into the kitchen. And I'll bet you when she was canning those beans, it would probably be over 100 degrees in that kitchen. But she always made enough green beans and corn and canned tomatoes and pickles that we didn't have to buy those things in the wintertime. And so those are my most important memories. So I guess I'm through.
I'm Benita, and I'm Carol Blackley's third child out of four, third daughter. And I'm here to talk about my mom and what I remember about her. The biggest thing people will describe my mom is the way they would describe her is that she was so frugal. Some examples that I remember, and I'm not sure if she was the only one that said this, but they said, please only use 1 square of toilet paper when you're in the bathroom, unless it's a big job. So that was pretty hard. And she used to use paper towels and then wash them out, squeeze out the water, and dry them for reuse. And she also had a drawer in the kitchen that had pre-used what we call tin foil. Most people call it aluminum foil. But she would have a drawer full of folded up pieces of tin foil that had already been used, and she would save it for reuse. She hated to open the refrigerator door unless it was necessary. So after a meal or before a meal, you would get everything out at once, and then after the meal, everything that needed to be refrigerated was put beside the refrigerator, and when everything was there, then you open the door one time and quickly replace all the refrigerated items. She used to make or sew most of our school clothes. Maybe not most, but especially when we were smaller. She was a seamstress, and she and her sister, our Aunt Babe, would sew clothes for our family and my cousin Debbie. They would get together and share patterns, as Debbie was about our age, just a little younger. So cousin Debbie and Vicki, Donna, and myself had lots of clothes sewn by our mothers. And they were of good quality. They were nice clothes, so we didn't mind that very much. She used the same Halloween and Christmas decorations every year, which, there's someone watching.
Carter.
So she used the same decorations every year, which were plain, for Halloween, were plain cutout items. For instance, a black cat with its back arched, or a witch on a broomstick, just cut out construction paper, and they got hung on the windows. And for Halloween, those were our Halloween decorations. And for Christmas, often we would use little Christmas tree decorations that the kids had made. So that was frugal, and she would save those and use those year after year. So she was a nurse, and she worked third shift, so she worked nights and then slept. When she came home, she slept while we were at school during the day, and then got up and made us all supper at night, cleaned up, got us all ready for school the next day, and then went off to work. So she was a very hard worker. And one of the things she used to do is we couldn't afford to go to the doctor too often when we got an infection. So she would bring home unused vials of penicillin from the hospital. And she had a reusable glass syringe that she would boil and sterilize that way. And if we ever got infections, then Mom would get out a vial of her penicillin from the refrigerator, and we would get a gluteus injection. So she took care of our infections for us. So she worked third shift. She worked hard. Let's see what else I have here. I know one thing about my mom when she was growing up, that a story she liked to tell was when her dad or her brother-in-law would go hunting and kill a squirrel, and when they were dressing the squirrel out, she and her sister Lorene would fight over the squirrel brains. They loved to eat squirrel brains. They would, I guess, fry them up in a pan. It wasn't very much, just maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon, but she and her sister used to like to fight over those because they loved to eat those, which I thought was a strange story. And I'm not sure, this is my last story, but I do know they used to talk about flour sack dresses. Back in the day, when my mom was a little girl, they bought flour in these huge bags, I think 50-pound bags or 30-pound bags. And the flour would come in a cotton sack, which usually had some sort of beautiful pattern, like flowers or some sort of pretty pattern on it. And people would save these flour sacks, and then if they had little girls, they would make flour sack dresses out of those. And I've heard talk about the flour sack dresses, and I think my mother used to wear some, but I'm not sure about that. But I have seen some of them. Anyway, so that's it. Those are my memories, a few of things I remember about her.
All right, we're here with Johnny Blackley, Carol's son, the youngest of the 4 kids. He's going to tell us some stories. If you want to just start out by telling us who you are and your date of birth and where you were born, and then tell us some things you can remember about your childhood.
John Blackley Jr., 5/23/59, born in Great Falls, Montana. Same place your mother was born, Bonita. Monty Sue Coca-Cola is what they called her. I went fishing with my grandpa, John Myers, and he stays out on the pier all night long, and then once it becomes daylight, he goes out and does what they call surf fishing, where you stand in the water a little bit and just swing out, catch what you can get. There was a couple guys next to us with a cooler, and they'd been drinking, and they were arguing about how far they could see. And I think a shrimp boat may have just went over the horizon about a mile out. And they were just arguing with each other, and Grandpa started laughing. And they're like, "What are you sniggering at, old man? How far you think you can see?" And he pointed up at the moon and said, "I can see that. How far is that?" They just laughed. And then there's, let's see, my dad was at Light Grocery, and Grandpa was in there, and Ruby. And a couple guys come in with a gun, like on a Friday at twilight, and was going to rob them. And Daddy, Andy Griffith-like, said, "Hey, you don't want to do this. Just put that gun back in your pocket and go get in your car and drive off, and nobody ever know anything about it." So, and Sam Watford was in there at the time, but he told me about it too, so it verified that story. Okay, my dad was up on the scaffold one time, and the laborers were down there throwing bricks at him, brick bats. at each other because they were arguing. And he said, don't let one of them hit me, and one of them hit Daddy in the ass. He grabbed a brick bat and threw it down there at the guy that done it, and it skint off the side of his head. And that guy said, well, I hit you in the ass. You hit me in the head. And my dad said, well, I figured anywhere I hit you was in the ass. His ass. Grandpa told me right after he had broke his hip, I wheeled him down this way, and we were talking, and he said, shit, I'm tired of being here. And I said, why? And he said, well, I can't go fishing anymore. Grandpa John was, beets are red, right? So he was looking at his almanac and checking the moon and all, and he said, I'm going to plant these and they're going to come up white. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, just wait a couple months. And sure enough, we had some white beets. I don't know how you do that.
Okay, and one last thing before you go. Do you have any memories of Carol as a child when you were growing up, or just in general, what she was like, or what she enjoyed, or what she spent her time doing?
Work, cook, clean. Oh, we'd go out on the railroad and we played horseshoes in the backyard here, and she was real good at that. And there's a concrete, it's like 6x6 with the number 12 on it on the other side of the railroad. And we would all go out there and put a can on it and stand on the railroad because there's plenty of rocks to throw. And we would throw rocks at it, and she was better at it even than Dad. She could nail, it made him mad. We'd throw about 5 or 6 at it, and then she'd bang it. And I'd run over there and put another one up. And she did horseshoes too. I guess I'm done.
Everybody is worrying about where they're gonna go and the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, and so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery